Menorca, the easternmost Balearic island, is a small landmass on which the wind, the sea, the rocks, and human presence since ancient times have come together to produce unique landscapes. The southern coast is formed from limestone, with sheltered coves that protect white sandy beaches, working their way inland in the form of spectacular gorges, caves, and fertile land. To the north, salacious red rocks abound, and the beaches, open to the tide, have an orangey hue to their sands. Here the wind in the key player in the north wind determines the kind of plants that can live here and conditions the life of many organisms. The ecosystems are varied. Lagoons, pools, and torrents, gorges, cliffs, islets around the coast, and an unusual mosaic of mosses and other life forms on stone walls. The species that make their home here are very diverse and, in many cases, endemic. This natural heritage is under threat. Population increase and urban growth have invaded natural ecosystems. Infrastructure building has fragmented habitats, and some of the more fragile areas have suffered from overpopulation. Even so, Menorca stands out for the generally good state of health of its natural areas and for the balance struck between human activity and environmental conservation. For this reason, in 1993, the island was declared UNESCO Biosfera Reserve. Menorca contains a national park, Biosfera des Grau, and habitats that form part of the Natura 2000 network. In order to conserve areas and species within the Natura 2000 network, the Europeans' LIFE program finances initiatives for environmental management and recovery. In 2009, the Consell de Menorca's Menorca Biosfera Reserve Agency began a new project named Life+Reneix, recovering the natural habitats of priority species on the island of Menorca. Its aim has been to restore damaged areas that are home to some of Menorca's most interesting flora, with a high number of endemic species and some of the Europeans' priority conservation species. For this project, 4 of Natura 2000 areas were selected as zones that had suffered environmental changes, but where corrections and improvements would be feasible. The easternmost area is Es Murtar, a small section of the northeast coast in the municipality of Mayo, to the east of Cala Mesquida. It is one of the last remaining habitats for an endemic plant, a vetch, and considered priority within the project. This area has suffered from various forms of urban activity, waste dumping, road building, and the construction of a sports field, as well as land erosion resulting from uncontrolled vehicle and pedestrian traffic. The only one of the areas located in the south is Pas d'en Ravul, in the gorge of Algendar. It is a small section recovered from the Royal Road, or Camí Vell, which used to join Ciutadella with Mayo, one of the oldest roads in Menorca. The area is of great botanical interest, containing priority plant species such as violets, peonies, and other endemic species that grow between the cracks of rocky walls. The third area is a well-known and busy area on the north coast, where the coves of Pilar and Els Alocs are located. In Pilar, we find an extensive and interesting dune system, leading inland from the beach to the home oak wood Alfuri. The whole area is a sanctuary for endemic plants, such as the socorei and other species specific to the dunes and the coastal rocks. An increase in the number of access routes to the beach has brought about a process of erosion. At the other cove included in this area, Els Alocs, a stream arrives and forms a small lagoon, which, sadly, has been damaged by a road. On the coastal slopes, old roads dating back to attempts at developing the area have destroyed natural habitats. The largest area to form part of this project can also be found in the north, in the municipality of Es Mercadal at Binimela, and the section of coastline stretching from Pregonda to Calamica. It is one of the jewels of this coast, home to wetlands, streams, virgin coves, dune systems, and the unusual plant species of the rocky coast. Here we find the island's largest area of socorei board, an endemic species considered priority by the local Habitat Administrative Council. The area's natural beauty attracts thousands of visitors, but it has also attracted real estate investment. In the 1970s, an ultimately unsuccessful housing development was begun here. Damage was done to the area with roads and excavations that altered the course of waterways, and in one case, blocking a stream entirely. More recently, this erosion has been accentuated by the increase in pedestrians and vehicles. Correcting this impact and embarking on a complete restoration of the area has been one of the most ambitious plans of the Life+Reneix project. Before beginning work on the land, a series of procedures had to be carried out. In collaboration with the University of Barcelona, the distribution of 16 plant species considered key to the area was recorded in a computer-based geographical system. Secondly, the open roadways in 3 of the areas were also mapped. Upon completing the administrative procedures, obtaining permits, and coming to agreements with landowners, town councils, and other organizations, the action stage then could begin. The first area in which action was carried out was Pas d'en Revul. A few pieces of marès, a local limestone-based building material, now mark the start of the itinerary. Stone walls were rebuilt, and the section of the stone road that were in poor condition were rehabilitated. Local volunteers have been instrumental in the recovery of this area. Members of the Red Cross, civil protection groups, neighborhood associations from Ferreris, and other groups collaborated with professionals in the restoration of the road, carrying out the tasks of clearing away, cleaning, planting endemic species, and protecting the area where violets, one of the most typical species of the gorge, can be found. In the 3 areas on the north coast, roads had to be eliminated, and to do this, the earth was dug up and then cultivated to restore natural plant life. In the area belonging to the old roads of Els Alocs, seeds endemic to that area were sown. Besides the roads in Es Murtar, the sports field, which had been built on the land with great floral properties, also had to be dug up. Re-establishing the composition of the earth was the first step in recovering the damaged habitats and the species that had disappeared. In other areas, roads were rerouted, such as in Pilar, where the section from Camí de Cavals was changed, and another section was paved. In order to reduce the impact on the dune system, shortcuts that had been created by pedestrians were closed, and eroded areas were restored. Part of this work was carried out with the assistance of young volunteers. One of the jobs carried out in all of the areas was the erecting of stone walls, a task performed manually by local laborers and small companies using traditional dry construction techniques. In Els Alocs, Stone walls with gateways for animals now prevent the uncontrolled flow of vehicles, with a car park and access to the cove. Here, the most important task has been the building of a bridge over the stream. In this way, pedestrian access to the cove has been channeled into a single route, and a small wetland with its tamarind forest, alox, and its population of eels and water turtles has thrived. Throughout the project, these animal populations have been closely monitored. In the area of Binimela, 200 meters of walls have been built in order to close off access routes and reduce erosion. Traditional olive wood barriers have been installed in order to restrict access, and the most sensitive areas, such as lakes and dunes, have been fenced off. Unused roads have been removed and the earth dug up as a first step in recovering the vegetation. These roads had blocked waterways and reduced the amount of sediment making its way to the beaches. For this reason, rainwater was rechanneled and a bridge was built where the road had previously blocked the stream. Erosion was therefore reduced, and the waters could once again run their natural courses. All of the work carried out in this project has been planned and coordinated by a team of technicians from the Menorca Biosfera Reserve Agency, advised by a scientific committee consisting of experts in the fields of botany, ecology, and environmental management. Similarly, a monitoring committee consisting of representatives from local, regional, and national administrations and members of the European Commission has made periodic visits in order to evaluate the work done. Throughout the project, there has been a focus on the key activities of educating, communicating, and awareness raising, which are fundamental for involving the local population and assuring the long-term conservation of biodiversity. A web page was set up in order to publicize the work, and there also has been presence on social networking sites and in the press. Information signs have been installed in the area, and 2 botanical trails have been designed for the most commonly used routes, El Pilar from the beach access and Pas d'en Revul, where have been also been school trips. The project has participated in the Volta a Menorca in BTT event, with information talks and posters to encourage ecologically responsible sports practices. With the motto, Fes Salud, Fes Natura, Play Sport, Help Nature, various materials have been produced, aimed at motorists and 4x4 drivers. The project has also been diffused to the scientific community, with participations in botany and conservation events and conferences, such as the 2nd Botany Congress, which was hosted in Menorca, with the participation of experts from 12 countries. Volunteers have been an ongoing feature of the fieldwork. Hundreds of people from different groups on the island and further afield have participated with their efforts to recover the natural environment. The participation of all of the above-mentioned people and other businesses and organizations have made it possible for the project to achieve its aims and in less than 3 years to recover and restore 4 plant species of great ecological value. Pas d'en Revul, now a botanical trail in a small area of great floral interest where access and information has been provided to people. Es Murtar is now a great example of how it is possible to rehabilitate an area that had been significantly damaged. In Els Alocs and El Pilar, the rerouting of paths and the closing and digging up of roads have enabled the recovery of habitats of endemic plant species, dune systems, and the wetlands, and have also improved conditions for visitors. The area of Binimela, the largest of the four, has been the site of a complete recovery that has seen a once damaged landscape now recover the habitats of diverse endemic plant species. All of this has made the Life+Reneix project an important contribution to the survival of species that are unique in the world and to the conservation of habitats that are fundamental for Menorca's extraordinary biodiversity. The results will last for as long as we, all of us, make it possible by respecting the natural environment.